Allegiant Stadium and seeing Justin Jefferson in the silver and black, and then looking over and seeing Brock Bowers lining up at tight end with Ashton Genty in the backfield and Kirk Cousins throwing Justin Jefferson the ball again, or Mendoza, or Aiden O'Connell, or whoever you expect to be the quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders, right? Then possibly imagine signing Stefon Diggs as well. Would the Raiders be a Super Bowl contender right away? Are the Raiders one player away, a wide receiver, a number one wide receiver from even being a contender for the playoffs? Well, we're going to break it all down. So pull up, grab your favorite drink, favorite beverage, whatever you do to relax. Pull up, let's talk Raiders ball. Join in the comments and let's get to it. If you don't already know, I'm Mr. Rogers and this is my neighborhood. So welcome, also known as Raiders Rebel. Shout out to everybody in the building. Candy, Greg, I see you. But yeah, man, sounds like a wild scenario, right? Justin Jefferson, Stefon Diggs in the same building with Kirk Cousins. Wasn't it? Wasn't it Stefon Diggs or Stefon Diggs? I don't know how to say his name right. Wasn't it Stefon Diggs that wanted out of Minnesota, right? Wanted out of Minnesota. It wasn't his trade. The very trade for the first round pick that sent him to the Buffalo Bills, Justin Jefferson. Yes, it was. It wouldn't that be a crazy reunite, right? Sounds wild, but let's break it down. Let's talk about it, right? There's all kinds of rumors about Justin Jefferson possibly not being happy, right? You have what was the eighth, seventh, JJ McCarthy, right? Drafted in the top 10. And then you have, a shorter, darker JJ McCarthy and Kyler Murray, in my opinion, right? Two quarterbacks that are very the same. They're not very consistent, right? They're very one smaller than the other, can barely see over the offensive line. So you got to roll them out. You got to open windows and put them in plays, right? And could Justin Jefferson not want to, get into the middle half or, depending on receivers you look at nowadays, they don't usually make it as long as they did back in the day, right? You don't see guys like Jerry Rice playing, guys playing as long as Jerry Rice. So would Justin Jefferson, want to end his career on a contender? And would him coming to the Raiders make this team a contender? Let me know in the comments, man. Let me know in the comments. Shout out to the 9 people in the building already. And what would it take to get Justin Jefferson? And what would you give up? Would it be 2 first? Would it be 3 first? What would it take to actually get Justin Jefferson out of Minnesota? I believe it would be 2, right? Now, if he's disgruntled and comes out and lets the media know that he's disgruntled and he wants out, then I think that changes everything, right? Then you're probably talking, maybe a first round, a first and a third, and possibly a player, or, maybe a first and a future third round, and possibly, a player. And we have some players that are on contract years, and we're going to break that down and talk about that, right? What could we throw into a trade package? And would it be realistic to bring in a guy like Justin Jefferson on this team? Let me know your opinion. My opinion is, it's not going to happen. If it does happen, it won't be before the season starts, right? I think they're going to let Justin Jefferson, with that mega contract that he has and the massive, $46 million cap hit they would take to trade him this year, right? Some team would have to at least eat half of that or most of it. So is it logical? No. Is it an impossibility? No, right? But I think it's a more of a deal that would be done more to the trade deadline, right? You go in, you give both teams a chance to figure out where they are, what they have in the building. If he's going to be okay playing with whoever the quarterback is, whether it be Kyler Murray, which it looks like it's going to be that, or JJ McCarthy, or maybe we throw a trade in for a player and make that quarterback battle even more, right? A guy that's on a competition year that many people think our head coach is gassing up to trade, right? We'll get into that as well. But let me know your thoughts. What do you think about top tier quarterbacks in our division? It kind of makes you think, are we still behind all of them? I don't know. Yes, Patrick Mahomes is still a top tier quarterback. And let me start this question because I'll answer it here in a minute, because I don't want to get off topic. But yeah, shout out to the people in the building. Um, but yeah, we'll get into that. We'll get into that. Are they really all top tier quarterbacks? Are some, maybe falling off a little bit? It happens, right? It happens. Or is it team around them? We'll get into that. But to go get a Justin Jefferson, right? What would you give up, and when would it be, right? So I'm thinking there's no way that any team trades for this man with the and they're not going to trade him away, right? They're not just going to give him away. But if he's disgruntled throughout the season and he's coming off his worst year, I do believe in the NFL. Now, if that happens again and you have a disgruntled player who's not getting the football and is having a bad year and doesn't want to, the latter half of his career finish on a team that he doesn't think is going to be a contender this year, next year, or even the year after, right? Because let's be honest, if Kyler Murray is not that guy, or JJ McCarthy is not that guy, or something happens to either one of them, and you have to put another quarterback in, where are you at in Minnesota, right? We know the defense is usually pretty much in the top 15, somewhere around there. But do you have the weapons if Justin Jefferson is not that guy, right? You have Addison, you have a solid running game, but there's a lot of questions over there. So my opinion is you would have to wait till at least mid-season, right? Mid-season, somewhere around the trade deadline, and if both teams, are not happy, say the Raiders are playing very well, say our defense is, keeping us where we need to be, not giving up a lot of points, and we're putting up enough points to win games, or we're not putting up enough points to win games, and our defense is very strong, and we're just that one wide receiver away, then yes, it would make sense to pick up the phone and make that phone call. But what would it look like? What would it look like? You know, two first. I feel I don't. Even if he's disgruntled, you're going to want somewhere around two first, or somewhere around that value. In my opinion, do the Raiders have that to give up? Of course, of course. Are they willing to give that up? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Are you willing to give up two first rounds, or say a first and a third, and a player of, maybe a Trey Tucker, right? Trey Tucker is going on his contract year. It's a guy that, you get a receiver for a receiver, come in a new system, um, new coaching style, right? New state, and has somewhere else to, maybe shine. You see that a lot in the NFL, where guys in they do everything they can, and then they go somewhere else, and, you know, the light clicks on, or the coach knows how to use them, right? And they get put in better situations, right? You also have a Michael Mayer who's on a contract year as well. Do they need a tight end? Could you throw, a package deal with a Trey Tucker and a Michael Mayer, and maybe a first round, or, a first and a fourth or something down the road? So let me know what y'all think. But I feel like the possibility is not a possibility, at least not till the deadline, right? You have to see what's going on. But wouldn't it be nice, right? Wouldn't it be nice to have two dominant wide receivers? You still have Stefon Diggs on the market, right? Free agent. There's been a lot of talk about, should the Raiders go out and get him, and where there's smoke, there's usually fire. Salute, I see you. Hi today. Um, what's the other one? The COD kid, the COD kid. I got you. I got you. Shout out to everybody. Yuppie. Get Chucky back to the Raiders, man. We got a head coach, bro. We got a head coach. But you have guys that are in their contract year, and there's a possibility. I feel like there's a lot of upside for Michael Mayer. Seven, what he's had, seven offensive coordinators, right? Three head coaches, are going on his seventh. Three head coaches, hasn't really been used. But when Brock wasn't out there and playing, Michael Mayer still showed that, look, man, I can still get the ball, I can still make plays, I can still get yak yards, I can block, and I could be a valuable asset to a team. So is there a scenario where we go into the preseason, right, and these guys go out there and shine? Maybe Trey Tucker's killing it in the preseason. Maybe Michael Mayer's showing out in the preseason. Maybe Aiden O'Connell's showing out in the preseason, and Minnesota's not happy with their quarterback room, and they want to add more competition, right? These things are very, very possible. But if you look at other teams around the league that have those two quarterbacks, right, like Higgins, Jamar Chase, right? You look at CeeDee Lamb and Pickens, right? You look at those dominant receivers. I mean, what did the Cowboys do last year with those dominant receivers? I'll wait. You know what I mean? What did the Bengals do with those dominant receivers? Right? Not much. But then you can look at the Patriots and what they did with Stefon Diggs. He was, over 1,000 yards, a number one target, a guy that, you know, got him a lot of first downs and a lot of, key plays to keep the chains moving and keep drives going. And I think that's what you need for a young quarterback. But are the Raiders going with the young quarterback? Probably not. Seems like it's going to be Kirk Cousins. That's going to be the guy. It's his job to lose, and it's going to take, something huge, I think, to get him off that spot. So if you're the Raiders and you feel like, you know, week 1, week 2, week 3, somewhere in there, right? Week 4, you're like, man, this team's defense is solid, right? The team's defense is solid. The offensive line is doing their job. You have a running game, but you just don't have receivers that are getting open. It could be the case, right? It seems to think on the latest poll for the Las Vegas Raiders, next subject, right? But let me know how y'all think about the Justin Jefferson thing. On the latest poll, the Raiders on ESPN, they ranked every team's offensive group. That means wide receivers, tight ends, and running backs. And the Raiders were 26th, 26th in the NFL. That's not good. That's not good at all, right? That doesn't scream throw Mendoza to the wolves to me, right? that's not screaming I need to see my rookie quarterback. Now, is their rankings always, set in stone and end all be all? Absolutely not. Sometimes their rankings are absolutely crazy. Like last year when they had Geno as a top 5 or possibly a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, right? Things can be misstrued and people can get things wrong. I got a hot take. Lions make the championship, but lose to the Rams. Okay. I like that. Speaking of the Lions, they were number 1 on that list of running backs, tight ends, and wide receivers. So let me know how y'all think about that. I know they got my Arkansas boy over there, who I was trying to pump up, but yeah, he got taken a little bit later, and they got a gym. And I tried to warn NFL teams, man, you might want to jump on this young man, but it is what it is. All right, dude's question was, so where do you think? Let me put this up here. So what do you think about the top tier quarterbacks in our division? It kind of makes you think we are still behind all of them. How do y'all feel about that? Do you feel like we're still behind in division? Why on the show? There we go. Right? You have Bo Nix coming off an ankle injury. What's he going to be? Is he going to be the same? And how soon will he be the same, right? You also know that they won a lot of games in the fourth quarter. He doesn't start out hot. He's not a consistent quarterback. Now you look at his numbers, they're damn good numbers, right? They're above middle of the pack, in my opinion. But how much of that was defense getting them the ball in short yardage, right? And on their side of the ball, how much was that of defensive turnovers, right? How much of that is, offensive line in the running game? To me, I think it's a lot of defense. They have one of the best defenses in the NFL. When you have the best defense in the NFL, your quarterback could get away with a lot, right? You can tighten up. You're just one play away or one turnover away from flipping the game, or one stop and swinging the field, on the short side. So, yes, we have great quarterbacks in our division, but Justin Herbert, right? What has he won? What has he done? He chokes in the playoffs, and I don't think Mike McDaniel is going to come in and just fix that and change that. He's already trying to change his stance in the pocket, in the shotgun, right? Trying to change some things with Justin Herbert. How is that going to affect a man that's been doing it the same way his whole life, trying to change a couple things, right? I think great athletes can overcome those things, but does it get him thinking, right? Is he thinking more about his footwork or, his arm motion than the rhythm of the play, stuff like that? And then you got Patrick Mahomes. So this year, I don't know. Next year, we don't know. We don't know what Fernando's going to be. He can come out and be, the next greatest thing since sliced bread. We don't know what we have in Fernando. A lot of people think it's, the kid's going to come play this year and be that guy from the jump, but we don't know. So it's hard to say what the division is going to be, right? Where's Patrick Mahomes playing? Is he playing week 1, week 4, right? Does he start week 1 and come back too early? Is he still thinking about the injury like Derek Carr did after his injury? There's a lot of questions in the AFC quarterbacks. A lot of questions. 2023 was the best but worst year for me. Why? Why? Depends on how Chiefs perform and Jalen Waddle does with Bo Nix. Shout out to my guy Raider Paul in the building. That's a big question too, right? I've asked this question. Does Bo Nix have the arm that Tua had, right? Does he have that deep ball throw? Can they build that connection like he had with Tua? A lot of questions to be answered. From Indiana, so I'm rooting for the Raiders on the AFC side. Nice. Hell yeah. But yeah, so like I was saying, it's a far-fetched tale, and I feel like the people that are throwing this out there, right, Justin Jefferson to the Raiders is a far-fetched tale. Now, next year it would make a little bit more sense. I think the cap hit is less. They owe him less guaranteed money, so the cap hit drops, right? I do believe he got paid $140 million with 80, almost 90 of it guaranteed. That leaves $50 million. So that means he probably gets guaranteed money this year and next year. I didn't look at the contract. I don't know exactly what it is, or I didn't memorize it. I can if y'all want to look at it. I enjoyed your stream. Fire had some suggestions I want to share with you. What? But I won't want to spam your chat. Let's chat on Discord. For sure, man. For sure. Follow my Discord. Leave me a message. I'll hit you up. I feel sorry for a South Division. The Texans ain't letting a point getting scored. Man, then that's going to be a huge test for the Raiders, right? That's going to be a huge test for the Raiders. I know it's only preseason. You're not going to get, all their first and second, all their first team starters, but you will for a minute, right? Because they want to see what they have. And then the depth on that team, even a lot of their second team guys could be starters on other teams. So this will be a big test for Kirk Cousins if he plays at all, right? Aiden O'Connell to show what he is. If he is a starter, can he beat defenses, like that? Depends on who's starting. Fernando Mendoza, will he get the start? Or, does he play the second half, the second quarter? A lot of questions to be answered in Houston, and I can't wait. And I'm so glad I will be at that game to, get a lot of those questions answered myself. But back to the beginning, right? Back to the beginning. Could you imagine the Raiders if they believe somewhere in the season, right? And maybe they go out and they bring in a Stefon Diggs, right? And, trade one of these players or let one of these guys go. You still have guys in the building that I feel were not Spytek guys, and guys like Thornton, Michael Mayer, Aiden O'Connell, right? Trey Tucker, all these guys weren't Spytek guys. He hasn't really drafted a receiver, but Malik Benson. So how much, burn is Malik going to get, day one? So there is a scenario where somewhere in the season, if both teams aren't happy, right? If the Raiders aren't happy with their receivers and they're not producing, and, Justin Jefferson does become available, I would not be surprised whatsoever if the Las Vegas Raiders make that phone call. And I think it would be stupid not to, right? Because even if you sign him to a 2-year deal or, a 3 or 4 year deal and stretch it out, a lot of people say the Devontae Adams things was a failure, but I don't believe it was. We gave up a first and a second round. I don't believe the situation was a fail. I think the coach that traded for him was the fail, right? And we've even had Jonathan Abrams come out and say the same thing I said from day one when we got McDaniels, that he was out here to sabotage the team, right? There's players in the building coming out saying it felt like he was there to sabotage the team by, just letting Derek Carr walk. You didn't get nothing for him. You didn't try to trade him. You got no trade value. You just released him, right? And you thought Stidham was going to be the guy, a guy that was cocky enough to say, oh, I can make any quarterback a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. And he's proved that this year in New England. He proved it in New England, but he didn't prove that in Vegas, right? So that whole scenario was was messed up, and you got guys from that era, that Spytek didn't bring in. So I wouldn't be surprised if, the guys that they're really hyped on in camp don't show out in camp when the pads come on here in what, 30 days, 31 days, I do believe the rookies report. Man, little over a month, it's gonna be football. If y'all ain't pumped up, I don't know what to tell you, but I'm excited as hell, man. I can't wait to see what this team has. But there is that situation, man. There is that situation. And I feel like this team and this offense would be absolutely unstoppable if you could somehow find a way, if you don't feel like you have 6 receivers in the building, right? There are plenty of guys that you can move. And I know the nation would hate to hear it, but we got to be honest, right? There's been talks about Jack Best not showing out. Maybe when the pads come on, like I feel, he'll show out when the pads come on, but maybe not. Maybe you have a Jack Best. Maybe you have a Dante Thornton, a Trey Tucker, an Aiden O'Connell, a Michael Mayer to try to move, to bring in another receiver or a guy to, change this team around and give somebody, give Kirk Cousins somebody to throw the ball to, somebody that, he can count on other than Brock Bowers, and to extend the longevity of Brock Bowers. Because let's be honest, if Brock Bowers is getting the ball 150 targets a game or, a season, bro, I don't think that's fair for Brock Bowers. The man's on a rookie deal. Are you really going to, jeopardize his career by throwing him the ball 150 times a game or 130 targets a game? I don't feel like that's the plan for Brock at all, right? I think they're going to use him in specific situations, and he's going to make the most of it. But I don't feel like he's going to have 130 targets or 150 targets like a lot of people seem to think. I don't think he's going to be I know he's going to be the number one option, but I don't think he's going to be that option as much as people think, right? I feel like that's why they went and got a guy like Neighbors. That's why they got Malik Benson, right? They feel like Trey Tucker is going to take that next step and be that guy. And then you have the guys that can do the crunch stuff like Jack Best, right? And you still have Cedric Jackson and Dante Thornton and Philip Dorsett, right? And a Brennan Jackson, a guy that they brought in that a lot of people still forget about. So there are receivers, a lot of receivers on this roster. I mean, so far, not on the roster, but on the team as we speak. And I feel like you have to see what you have in those guys, man. At least for, at least preseason. If preseason, if nobody's, getting the offense, if they're not running the routes like they need to be, right? If their angles aren't right, if their timing's not right, if their footwork's not right, then you have to do something, right? You have to make a change, I feel. So that's my thing on the Justin Jefferson. I'd be all in. I would give up a first round and a third round. I don't think that's asking too much. I just don't see Minnesota giving them up for that. I feel it's going to be more like two first rounds to start, unless, like I said, you can throw in, maybe a need. Maybe they need another tight end to run more 12 personnel, right? And maybe you throw a Mayer into that mix, or maybe they feel like Trey Tucker is, a guy that they could use, as that second guy, and maybe they want to let, Atkins be that guy for the future. I don't know, but it is a possibility. Raiders got arguably the best tight end in the league, and they got a good one right behind him too. Are you going to try to watch every Lions game on my phone? Nice. On your phone? Why not watch it on TV? What's up, my guy Steve in the building? I see you. I will be here in Houston, ready for that barbecue. Yes, barbecue. I am down for some barbecue. 100%. 100%. Some Texas barbecue. Yes, please. Now you're making me hungry. I want some barbecue now. We finally agree. Nice. As long as we agree on something, then we're good, right? But even families disagree, so it's all good, my brother. I'll take Jefferson still young. I mean, 100%, bro. 100%. He has, he's been with Kirk Cousins. He's been with Clint Kubiak. He had his best season, I do believe, when Clint Kubiak was his first year as an offensive coordinator. He went from the quarterback coach to the offensive coordinator. I do believe, and Justin Jefferson had one of his best years, and Kirk Cousins, I do believe, had one of his best years that year as well. So, it wouldn't be crazy if he was on the board. I don't feel like they trade him before the season starts. I think they're going to try to get something out of him or see, if they can make him happy with the quarterback play in the offense. And if they can't, then yeah, more than likely it's adios. Adios. Is Jameer still rookie or I forgot? No, he's not a rookie. He's been in the league, what, five? Is he on his? I think he's about ready for his rookie contract if he already did pass it. But I know he's not a rookie. He wants out. Not going to be nothing in Minnesota. I agree with that 100%. Agree with that. If there's rumors that that he wants out, then more than likely this man wants out. Right. This is not just people trying to get clicks or clickbait. Right. I'm talking about it because it's trending. I got to give my two thoughts. But man, if you're telling me you can bring Justin Jefferson and I could walk out to Allegiant Stadium and see Justin Jefferson with Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty, come on, man. It's a win-win, right? F them picks. I don't care about picks for the future. There's going to be receivers in next year's draft. Yes, you can go get one. But the window for the Raiders is this year, next year, and the year after. I feel like 2029. Maybe if we have a good season this year, next year, could possibly. But teams don't stay good for a long time, right? Shout out to High Today for the $5 holla. Appreciate you. Teams don't stay good for a long time nowadays, right? It is very, very hard in this day and age of the NFL to build a dynasty. It is very, very hard. Now, some teams get lucky and some teams don't, right? But there's not a lot of teams, right? You have a great dynamic duo with the general manager in Philadelphia, right? You have a great thing going with the Kansas City Chiefs, but even that is starting to look like it could be, not what it used to be, right? The Eagles too, up and down. They're not consistent. There's not a lot of teams in the NFL that consistently win at a consistent basis for 3 or 4 or 5 year period, right? If the Raiders start winning this year and next year, how long can they contain that, right? Can they contain that for another 2 years until we play a Super Bowl in our house and try to compete for that? I don't know. We have a lot of players on 3-year deals. We don't know what's going on with Max Crosby. So I feel like the window for the Las Vegas Raiders has to be now. It has to be now. I mean, you don't have to win right now. You don't have to make it to a playoff or a Super Bowl, but you have to push. You have to push this year, right? You have to win games you're not supposed to win. You have to win games that you usually don't win by, overlooking teams or that are thinking, this team's going to be easier than we think, right? The Raiders can't do that no more. You can't overlook teams. You have to win those games, and you have to win some games that we're not supposed to win to show this team is competitive. And I don't think the fans or the people dishing out millions of dollars in guaranteed contracts are going to be happy with a 4-year or even a 6-year win season, right? They're not looking at the schedule going, oh man, we got to play the Bills and the Patriots and the Chiefs, right? Nah, bro. They're looking at that schedule and Kubiak's like, okay, I got something for y'all. And I got something for y'all too, right? That's how I feel they're looking at it. So the window when you have a rookie quarterback, sometimes you can wait 2 or 3 years and then still be good for the next couple of years. But if you look at the scenarios with rookie quarterbacks, usually they struggle their first year, right? If you look at Caleb Williams, what they win, like 5 games, 6 games. You look at last year's quarterback in Cam Ward, what they win, 3 games, right? You look at the guy that was just in the Super Bowl in Drake May. What did he win his rookie year? 3 games, 4 games, right? Rookie quarterbacks don't come out and win games, but veteran quarterbacks do, and we have a veteran quarterback in the building. So wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice to go out and get a Justin Jefferson and have him in the building and, may or may not add a guy like Stefon Diggs because you can make a trade and you can have that, have that flexibility in your roster? It could be done, right? Is it a dream scenario? Yes. Just like this, like I said, just like the, how it came up in the beginning of Justin Jefferson wants out and it makes a perfect fit for the Raiders. I think it does if you're trying to win now. But are the Raiders in a win now scenario? I don't believe that's the case, right? I don't feel like we're a team that is going to come out and just dominate every single game. I think we're going to be competitive in a lot of games, and I hope it's every single game, right? Of course, I want us to win every single game. It's just win, baby, not just wait, baby. And we've been waiting for a long damn time. So if you're telling me that you believe Justin Jefferson, helps this team get to a playoff or compete in the AFC West, then so be it. Give up that first round, give up that third round in a player or whatever it takes. But for 2 first, I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I could do that. Rosetown in the building. What's good? What's good? Now the Mendoza thing, right? Next topic is Mendoza. Does he or does he not start, right? There's been a latest Tom Brady, talking about the team, how bad they were last year, what he thinks for Mendoza. And he mentioned the word Peyton Manning, and now it's all over the internet that Tom Brady thinks, Peyton Manning and Fernando Mendoza are the same and are going to be on the same trajectory. If that's the case, then you got to start him day one, right? You got to start him day one if that's the case, if you're going with the Peyton Manning thing. But I believe he's looking more like, his scenario where he sat almost the whole entire season or the whole entire season. But my question to y'all, 21 people in the building, and shout out if you're watching on X, on Kick, on TikTok, on Facebook, all those over there. Shout out to y'all. If you're watching over there, come over here, join the fun. Subscribe to the channel if you're picking up what I'm putting down, all those good things. But where do you feel we are right now? If and it's hard to say what any team is going to be. There's no pads on. But just looking at on paper, I think we did a lot of things to be competitive a lot. And our biggest question right now, if you're asking me, I'm asking you first, what's your biggest question on this team? Is it the offensive line? Is it the quarterback play? Is it the coaching? Is it the defensive coaching, right? Is it the cornerback room? Is it the safeties? What is your biggest, is it the field goal kicker? Is it special teams? What is your biggest worry right now that you feel can make this team not competitive, right? Not competitive. Is it the wide receiver room? I think Brock Bowers needs to stay healthy before Raiders fans can crown him the GOAT. I believe that 100%. I was talking about that the other day as well, right? Injured, missed a lot, right? Those deep bone bruises, strained PCL, right? Those injuries can have an effect. And, a guy that's playing on an $18 million contract with $10 million guaranteed signing bonus, $10 million signing bonus, I do believe. So, Brock Bowers ain't out there making $30 million a year like some players on our roster, with guaranteed $32 million. So, I don't believe you go out there and you throw the ball to Brock Bowers, 100 times a game. I just don't feel like the Raiders are trying to use him like that. That's why you have Michael Mayer. That's why you have Carter Runyon. That's why you have a fullback. That's why you went and got 2 running backs, right? To take the pressure off of Brock Bowers having to be that guy. I believe that's the plan instead of the ladder of, him being the next JSN, which I don't know. Why go all out? Why go all out for Jetta or any other receiver? Let's wait and see what the draft for next and give up capital for Smith, if anything. Do you feel the Raiders do that, though? When was the last time the Raiders drafted a wide receiver in the first round? Do they value wide receivers enough to draft a wide receiver in the first round? That's another question, right? Where does Clint Kubiak value receivers? Because I don't believe Clint Kubiak is looking at this roster and thinking that he can't get the best out of every receiver in there. So I agree with you of, just wait and see what we have. But I don't know about wait till the draft next year or wait till the end of the season, right? I feel like somebody's going to have to show something in camp and also in the preseason. And somebody's going to have to step up and be like, look, I could be that guy. But yeah, I agree with you 100% on, just wait. But I don't know if they draft a receiver in the first round, right? I don't feel like Clint Kubiak values receivers that much. I mean, I don't know. He's seen what went on with Stefon Diggs, right? He sees what's going on with Justin Jefferson. Do you need that in the building? Are you happy, drafting second round guys that you can get the best out of, that you can put in the best position to make plays, right? Where was JSN drafted? Hold on. Moment of silence. No, let's go with this. What round was Jackson Smith and then Jigba drafted? He was 20th overall in the first round. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe you do need that first round guy, right? I mean, he definitely, you could say, he definitely was, what am I doing here? You could say he was definitely, you know, the reason JSN broke out. Or you could say JSN, was being held back by having Tyler Lockett take a bunch of snaps and DK Metcalf taking a bunch of, reps away from him. That's my biggest thing. Of bringing in a guy right now, right? You're taking away too many reps from young guys that we haven't seen. And maybe, I know we don't have any first round picks, but maybe we have, the next JSN caliber, not JSN, the next JSN caliber type player, in the building in one of these drafts. We don't know, and we won't know until we at least wait and see what we got. I think he's going to let him start a few games and test them out and then go from there. I agree with that 100%. But let me ask y'all this. If the Raiders valued that wide receiver position, they had a wide receiver that a lot of teams had a first round grade on in David Boston, but the way the draft fell and, the way guys were getting snatched up way earlier than teams, expected, the draft just went crazy, right? I don't think anybody was even close on the way the first round went on all the, projected mock drafts. I don't think anybody was even in the ballpark on the first round. I mean, there was a lot of surprises from a lot of teams, right? And I feel like that's, why some of these guys fell out of the first round, but they had a chance to get Denzel Boston. They had a chance to get Casey Concepcion. They had a chance to get pretty much every receiver in this draft except for the four that were taken in the first round, right? And they didn't go receiver. So that tells me that they want to wait and see what they have in the building, right? They want to see at least 1 year from what they have in a Jack Bass, maybe a Dante Thornton, right? Guys like Cedric Jackson. I believe it's worth the wait for sure. James Furpo in the building. Raiders. What else we got? My guy Lou in the building says, listen, I walk the streets of Kansas City with my shoulders shield flying. Nice. I'd rather lose with Mendoza than lose with Cousins. Either way, there's no Super Bowl with Spytek or Kubiak. Promise. Wow. What? So you don't believe Clint Kubiak or John Spytek are the guys to take us to a Super Bowl? Did I read that right? Now that's a hot take. How do y'all feel about that in the building? That's, I mean, what? What? The offensive coordinator that just came off a Super Bowl in Seattle. Now you could say that it was uh it was McDonald's team, right? But you could also argue the fact that the offense was all Kubiak. I don't think the head coach was involved. Kind of like Kubiak's running his team now and letting Rob Leonard handle the defense part. So yeah, that's crazy, man. But I agree with you on one thing. I'm 100% with the Raiders first, right? I want every opportunity from the guys drafted in the building, whether it's, Mendoza, Aiden O'Connell, the UDFA that we brought in, right? like, and Jacob Clark. I want these guys to have opportunities before you bring in free agents on the outside, right? Now, you're paying a guy 100, $81 million like a Tyler Linderbaum, then yeah, yeah, but he should at least have competition, right? You're bringing in a guy like even, $4,000 Spencer Burford. He should still have competition. I'm not going to be happy with the Raiders not putting anybody in preseason with the ones to see if they're better than Spencer Burford, right? To me, I think that's doing the same thing we did last year and just picking guys and saying, all right, you're the guy, you know the system. I brought you in. You're my guy that I brought in, and you're playing, right? And I hope they don't do that with Kirk Cousins. I hope they don't do that with Spencer Burford or anybody else that Clint Kubiak brought in the building. I want to see a competition. Now, as far as losing goes, I mean, if you're going to lose, yes, I'd rather lose with Raiders 100%. I don't want to go out there and lose games because of Kirk Cousins. That makes it worse, in my opinion. But if you have an opportunity to bring in, say, a Justin Jefferson or a Stefon Diggs, right, and make this team better from day one with Kirk Cousins out there, and you build up this team and you build up, fear in the rest of the NFL, right? And you build confidence in the players and the team and the coaching staff that Mendoza doesn't have to come in with a unknown offensive line, unknown defense, unknown run game, unknown wide receivers, right? Unknown how the coach would play and coaching style is going to work with the players, not knowing the offensive line and how that's coaching style is going to work with the players, right? There's a lot of unknowns. And to me, I just think it makes more sense to put Kirk Cousins out there and, maybe win some games and maybe build confidence in the offensive line, maybe build confidence in Ashton Genty and Mike Washington and, whoever it is behind him. Maybe build confidence in these wide receivers, right? I think Kirk Cousins is that barrier. I think it would be much better. I believe fully 100%. It is much better for a rookie to come in a winning system and a winning organization than to come in and try to be the guy and have the pressures to fix everything, right? I just don't feel that's the way to go. Now, if you look at the history, look at Tom Brady, right? The Patriots were already a damn good team with Drew Bledsoe. I mean, they had a good defense, right? They had a solid offense. They had a good coach. They had a good offensive coordinator. They had the pieces, right? And Drew Bledsoe went down. Tom Brady steps right in, and it's an easy transition, right? They went to the Super Bowl his first damn year. So, and then Super Bowl, missed Super Bowl. So, to have a guy like that, to have Patrick Mahomes that got to come in and take over for Alex Smith, that had that team in the playoffs the year before. They were already a playoff team. They were already winning the division. And now you just come in and put them in. Same thing with Bo Nix. Look at where the Broncos are, right? They went and got their guy, but they were bad for 2 years. They were, they tried starting all kinds of different quarterbacks, and then they go get Bo Nix, but they put Bo Nix on a team that had one of the top 10 defenses in the NFL, if not top 5, right? So you have a defense that's going to get you the ball. It's going to give you the ball in short field. It's going to give you turnovers. It's going to create more opportunities and more attempts for your young quarterback to grow. And I feel like, that's the way to go, to have a team that's already prepared, knows their value, knows how to play against each other. Bro, why you coming here talking crap off kick? That's my opinion. So, yes, I would much rather lose with the Raider out there, but it don't have to be Fernando Mendoza. I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. Jefferson is gay, doesn't fit our mystique. Never will be a Raider. Okay. My guy says Spytek hired Pete. I made the worst call in Super Bowl history. Now hired Clint. I'm from Denver. Kubiak, shit don't add up, bro. I'm I'm speechless. I don't know. I don't know what to say to that. I don't know what to say to that. I don't believe Spytek was a Pete Carroll was a Spytek hire. I don't. I believe that was a Mark Davis and a Tom Brady type thing, right? They wanted an experienced head coach to bring in with their first year GM, right? Test the waters, see how that went. And I think Pete was just that experiment. I really don't believe a lot of these people that are in the building that seem to believe that Pete Carroll was the long-term situation. He never was long-term. He was there for, here for a good time, not here for a long time. We never had a good time. So, it's bye-bye. But I don't believe Spytek had anything to do with the Pete Carroll hiring. I don't think he was in that position yet as the first year GM to make that call, right? We know who sat in those interviews. It was Tom Brady and Mark Davis, right? Spytek was there, but come on, as a first year GM, you're not getting that much say. So I can't put that on Spytek. I don't know if it was Spytek or not. Now, you're from Denver, so the whole Clint Kubiak's father, right, being a backup quarterback or whatever. I don't think that has anything to do with the Raiders. I think Clint Kubiak is the man for the job. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to get the best out of his players. He knows how to scheme guys up, and most of all, he knows how to adapt during a football game. Go back and watch Seattle and how many times a lot of people say the first 15 plays are scripted, right? You have your little chart, you have your little plays, and you're calling plays off of there. And then after that, you're kind of mixing around and digging it up. But Clint Kubiak, he's calling plays, for the fourth quarter and the first quarter. He's setting people up, setting guys up. He's out coaching people. And we haven't had that in the building in a minute, right? Antonio Pierce wasn't out coaching anybody. Josh McDaniels wasn't out coaching anybody. And Pete Carroll, with all his experience, sure to hell wasn't out coaching anybody, right? They know what Pete Carroll's trying to do. You have 45 years of history of what Pete Carroll's offense and defenses look like and what kind of system he wants to bring in. Run the ball, have big, tall guys, you could throw over the top to, have big, strong, long, tall receivers and corners. Everybody knows it's a cover 3 system, right? We all know the Gus Bradley defenses. We all know the whatever the dude in Washington, right? We all know their defenses. Everybody knew what Pete Carroll was going to run and that he was going to pretty much demand Patrick Graham to change his defense to his style, because we heard all the talk, after from guys that don't want to talk about it during the season because it might hurt the team. But I talked about it all year. This is not Patrick Graham's defense. You can see it in every play, right? If you break down film and watch film, it was not Patrick Graham's defense. It wasn't even that bend, don't break. It was a break defense. No blitzing whatsoever. You're not disguising anything. You're just going out there and be like, this is what we are. This is what we're running. Beat it. And everybody did. So I think Clint Kubiak is way different than a Pete Carroll. He has a plan, and this dude's he's already changed. The team's already looking different, right? The people in the building are already saying it's different, man. It's different. And we hear that every year. And every year it is different, right? So it's not a lie. But this year just feels different. Jefferson equals Antonio Brown. I can get that. I can get that, right? You look at Randy Moss, you look at Antonio Brown, you look at all the wide receivers that we brought in that didn't really help this team. I get that. You could even say that about Devontae Adams, but you could also say that Devontae Adams had one of his best years, his first year with the Raiders with Derek Carr, right? That was a Josh McDaniels that tore that down. We could have built a dynasty just from those two right there. We don't know what they could have been, but I do know almost 5,000 yards from Derek Carr with 12 or 13 or 14, whatever DC had in that first year was something special they should have built off of and not ripped apart. So I get it, but not every not every wide receiver is a diva, and just because a dude's not happy with them letting Sam Darnold go. Like, how could you be happy if you're Justin Jefferson? I'm sure he was banging the table, being like, please don't start JJ McCarthy. Please keep Sam Darnold. The dude took us to a playoff and we lost. Give him another chance. Now they let him go. He goes to Seattle and wins the Super Bowl, right? So I'm sure if you're Justin Jefferson, you have every right to be pissed off, man. You signed this big, huge contract thinking, all right, I have quarterbacks in the building. And now you have a defense, you have an offense, but you have nobody to run it. And I just don't believe Kyler Murray's that guy. I feel like he's definitely knows he's not that guy. Doesn't fit the mystique of the Raiders. I mean, how does he not fit the mystique of the Raiders? He rocks chains. He's got, he's got crunks, diamond teeth. Shit, I think he fits right in, bro. What do you mean? What you talking about? Doesn't fit. Perfect for the mystique. Raiders aren't shit. Are they? What? Raiders are not shit. They are, but I don't even know. That doesn't even make sense. Doesn't make sense. They were, but they are rebuilding. Pete Carroll was the reason they sucked last year. It wasn't just Pete Carroll, right? It was the fact that even if Spytek or Mark Davis or whoever was the guy that thought, Pete Carroll was the guy, you let Tom Brady supposedly pick the offensive coordinator. How was that going to work? How is that going to work, right? To have it work, you have your general manager and your brass all together in the building. You pick your head coach, and then your head coach brings in guys that he wants to interview, and you all interview them together. You don't have one guy saying, all right, this is the offensive coordinator. He's in California. Go get him because, he look what he did with look what he did with Ohio. He had 2,000-yard receivers, 2,000-yard rushers. That's our guy, right? Nah, you can't build like that. You can't build like that. So with that scenario, I mean, a lot of us had questions from the jump, right? Some of us knew Geno Smith is an if quarterback, if everything is right, and nothing was right, and we're done. Not trying to test your chat, my thoughts, opinions. I get you. Shout out Howie Long, just like Dan Campbell could bring it. Right. Shout out for the $2 holler, man. I appreciate you. Dan Campbell, he was the man, bro. He was the man. We need another Howie Long, too. Raider Ryan in the building. What's good, my guy? Been a minute. Appreciate you. You said Geno, too. Geno. But Brendan Carroll was the biggest problem, right? The biggest problem. And it still, doesn't irritate me no more because I moved on from the irritation stages. But the fact that people still think that Ashton Jeanty doesn't have, first round potential, okay, number 6 overall potential, or doesn't have the chance to be one of the best backs in the NFL is crazy to me. If you look at, not only was Brandon Carroll the offensive line coach, but he was the run game coordinator as well. And if you go back and watch some of the plays, you're like, was that Ashton Jeanty's fault? Right? Was it the offensive line not knowing where they were going? You got offensive line going 2 different ways and your running back stopped going like, wait, that's not the play, right? So a lot of scenarios last year, but that's in the past. We have coaches in the building. Now we just need to make it work. And if it's not with the receivers we have, then we need to go get one, right? But I just don't feel I just don't feel like we're a wide receiver away. Yeah, I put that up. Why is my computer so slow today? Appreciate you. Talent was the biggest problem. It was the biggest problem. Talent and not knowing what we have. Damn, I saw my shirt. Jesus. Y'all didn't tell me I had stuff all over my shirt. But yeah, man, talent was a major problem. And then I think on top of that, not knowing if we had talent from any of the draft picks, right? We've lost a lot of guys that moved on that we never got to see, what could they be, or if we hit or miss on them, we just let them go. Genty's dead weight, overpaid, and gone after the contract. Man, I hope he takes us to the playoffs first. Daniel Sports was good, my brother. I hope he helps us get to the playoffs first. Because as long as he does that, to me, you're worth that 6th overall pick all day long, right? If you get us to a playoff and build up this team where, Mike Washington could take over or Roman Hemby could take over, I'm 100% down with that, right? He don't have to be here for a long time. He just got to be here for a good time. So, overpaid, I think that's where you drafted him, right? You draft him in the top, in the top 10, he's going to have a crazy, crazy contract. And that's not his fault. That's just where the Raiders took him. But does he have to live up to that? Absolutely, 100%. So, might be dead weight, might be overpaid, but we know how long was Marcus Allen in the building for the Raiders, right? How long, could Bo have been in the building if he didn't get hurt? So you can draft guys that hit, right? You could draft guys that hit and you can keep them around. Can you afford them? That's the biggest question. And I don't know how he can make much more than he's already making. I mean, to be honest, if you look at the running back market, right? Do you think when Ashton Jeanty gets his contract that running backs are going to be making 20 plus million a year? I don't believe so, right? So he's already what? What is this contract? Close to 10, right? 7 something. Ashton Jeanty's rookie contract. Yeah, 4 years, 35 mil. Damn. That's 8, what, almost 9. Where does it say? Yeah. That's almost 9 million per year. I mean, that's kind of where the market is going with running backs. Now, I don't know how much more he's going to get other than that at the contract year. So you might be absolutely correct. He might be 4 and done. They did the same thing with Josh Jacobs, right? There is that possibility where maybe the Raiders, franchise tag him for 1 year and then go from there like they did Josh Jacobs. But yeah, the life expectancy, for a running back is 3 to 5 years, depending on how much he's used, right? Or how much he gets injured. Are we a wide receiver away? From what hinge? Good Raider football week to week, year to year. What? From what hinge? No, I don't believe we're a wide receiver away. I feel like you have to have 3 good wide receivers, and probably a 4th one, right? I feel like you need 2 good running backs. You have to have a top 15 defense. So, and your offensive line's got to be somewhere inside the top 20, hopefully inside the top 15 for a team to be, a wide receiver away. And then you have a first-year head coach. So, I mean, no, we're not even close to a wide receiver away. But we don't know that, right? We don't know that. I can't say that we're not because we've made the moves to be, right? We made the moves to be. And I said last year in a live stream, I said if it doesn't work out with Pete Carroll, the Raiders are blasting trying to buy a Super Bowl. And by buy a Super Bowl, I meant spending the most money on the biggest holes. And I feel like we did that, right? You could question the wide receiver group, but I think they're questioning it too, and they don't know what they have because they didn't play enough last year. But if you look at the biggest holes on the team, it was offensive line, right? Mainly center. We fixed that. It was linebacker, I thought, was the second biggest need other than offensive line. We fixed that with 2. The depth might not be the greatest behind them, but the starters are that have injury problems. Doesn't sound very good. Corners, we've added crazy speed, length, height, right? And same thing with the safety room. So we've plugged that side of it. We got another running back to take the pressure off of Ashton Genty, and we have not one but three quarterbacks in the building. So I feel like they've done enough to possibly be a wide receiver away if they need that number one guy. If they don't plan on feeding Brock 120 targets, which I just don't feel like that's the plan this year. I feel like they can be. They can be. But they're gonna have to show something in preseason. And I know preseason doesn't mean nothing, but when you have preseason and you also have joint practices, those joint practices get pretty damn physical, right? That's starter on starter out there, and second team on second team. But those joint practices are pretty physical games, and you learn a lot. And I'm glad we have one with two of the best defenses in football, right? Carolina Panthers defense was pretty solid last year, and I don't know what they were, but they were definitely one of the main reasons they got into the playoffs. So you look at Carolina's defense, we have an open practice with them, and then you look at Houston Texans, we have an open practice with them. So we should know a lot. We should know a lot by preseason of what we have in our receivers, what we have in our line, and what we have in our quarterbacks. But let me know, how do y'all feel? Are we a receiver away? All in with Mendoza. We need to hold Mark and Tom to the fire. Okay. Okay. I agree with that. I agree with that. A lot of people thought, they should have traded back and he wasn't the first overall pick, but they fell in love with him. They feel like he's their guy. But I'm in between, man. I want to see the kid play because he was a first round pick. And, it's been a long time since the Raiders have had a rookie of the year. So I'm being selfish. I'm admitting it. I'm being selfish by wanting him to play, right? Because if he's not ready, he shouldn't be out there. But it's been a long time, like I said, since the Raiders have had a rookie of the year. And if anybody gives us, opportunity to do that, it was Brock Bowers, and he was close, right? Didn't happen. Ashton Genty obviously didn't have the coaching or the O line to even be mentioned in there, but he was mentioned in it, right? It was close. I feel like Fernando Mendoza could, usually the quarterback gets rookie of the year, right? You also have Carson Beck that could have a better year than Mendoza. You heard it here first. So, I would love to see him play right away. But then again, if we're only going to win 5 games, does a year of taking your lumps, taking a beating, better than learning on the bench and coming in with a team that's more prepared, more organized, more bonded together, and what you have and what your strengths and weaknesses are to help your young quarterback. I think that's the best way to go. Geno Smith is on cap for 19. I know. That's ridiculous, bro. They should just pay him. Just give him money so I don't have to hear the Geno name ever again. Shout out for the $2 smacker Rizzle. Appreciate you, my nizzle. Can't wait for football, man. I cannot either. Scene. Did I miss something on the comment? From seeing good Raider. Oh, okay. Are we a wide receiver away from seeing good Raider football week to week? Like I said, that's a question, man. That's a question. I believe no. I feel like we're going to see good football right now without that receiver, right? I have a lot of faith in Jack Besh. I have a lot of faith in Trey Tucker that, there's a big difference with Trey Tucker's last year, the year before, and the year before that, right? A lot of his targets were contested catches. He had a bigger, taller, stronger corner or safety or linebacker on him, or whatever he had. Most of the time, I'm sure it wasn't a linebacker, but he's got bigger, stronger guys on him, and he's got small hands, short arms, right? He's 5'8", and I think a lot of his balls that he didn't bring in, the balls that were bobbled and tipped and turned out to be bad plays, were because he wasn't open enough, right? He wasn't open enough. Those defensive backs were too close. The safeties were too close. And I feel like if anybody can help Trey Tucker create separation with the play calling, it's Clint Kubiak. So I'm hoping, man. I'm hoping. Geno Smith is old. Over the caps. Spytek's explain Spytek's existence and your justification for a wide receiver based on that. My justification for a wide receiver is based on what they do in preseason, and if you have to go back and watch the beginning of the show because I started out, wouldn't it be nice to have a Justin Jefferson? But is it logical? Is it sensible? And does it make sense for the Raiders right now? No. But would it make sense maybe at the trade deadline? That's a different conversation. So I'm not going to justify the wide receiver if this team, like I said in the beginning, if this team feels like we are a wide receiver away, because only they know, right? Nobody's been at practice. They haven't had open practices. We're just hearing what other people hear. The only people that know are people that, you know, have seen enough football to evaluate football. But if they were that great at evaluating talent, they'd be at a different job, maybe working for the team, right? Instead of reporting on the team, just my opinion. So, they might and might not know what to look like. And all we have is to go by what they're saying. So until we could actually see what this team is, we don't know. We don't know if we're a wide receiver away or if we're not. But as far as Spytek and the Owen Geno Smith, I was not in whatsoever on trading the third round pick for Geno Smith. I thought that was a failure. And I thought it was a bigger failure to pay him $32 million and sign him to a $71 million contract with a 2-year extension. That was horrible. That was horrible. Now, was that Spytek's doing? He is the GM, right? He is the GM. Or was that Mark Davis talking to Pete Carroll, and Pete Carroll got Mark Davis to sign off on it, right? We don't know. I'm not in the building, so I don't know who made that decision, but whoever did was a dumbass decision, right? It was a dumbass decision. But everybody makes bad decisions. Can you overcome those decisions, right? And make it better? We'll have to wait and see. If you don't know, we need that position. What? We know the tight end room, the quarterback room. I don't know is a no. Let me read that again. If we don't know, then we need that position. No, we don't know because we haven't seen it. I mean, for you, yeah, if you feel that way, if you don't know what we have, then we need those positions. But if that's the case, then you could say we need a whole 53-man roster because our 50-man roster, because the only people we've seen on this roster that we know what we're getting from them on this team is Max Crosby. It's probably Colton Miller and Brock Bowers. That's it. I think that's the only players on this team that you could literally write in stone and be like, okay, I know what they're going to be. I know what we have in this position. The rest of the positions, you don't know until the pads come on. We don't know how they're going to gel, how they're going to fit in Kubiak's system, which guys are going to pick it up faster than other guys, which guys aren't going to pick it up at all. You could have great players on the field, but can't pick up the system fast enough and get shipped off. It happens in the NFL every year. So, if you feel like because we don't know, then we need that position, I'm cool with that. Mendoza and lose over Cousin and win. Stop backtracking. Mendoza and lose over Cousins and win. I'm taking win all day, bro. I'm taking win all day. All day. It's not even a question. It's just net. We just win, baby, right? Just win, baby. And we haven't won in a long damn time. So if you're giving me the option to win with Kirk Cousins or play Mendoza and take a chance of winning, I mean, I'm going to take the sure thing if you're telling me Cousins is the sure thing, but I just don't know that's the case. So it's not backpedaling. I just don't know. Beck banked. Beck as well. A Beck. Hit those like buttons. Hit those like buttons. Subscribe to the channel. Shout out everybody watching on all the site, whatever your site you are watching us on. I appreciate you. Tucker has to separate. Kubiak can't do it for him. I think that's a kind of a true statement, but yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can run, dig plays. You can run rub plays. You can run screen plays. You can run a lot of plays to get your wide receiver open, right? You can run routes that, out of a bunch. There's a lot of routes that you can call as a offensive coordinator to get your guys open. Now they have to be able to run the routes and create separation on their own. Yes, I agree 100%. But you can call routes to help your receiver get open. Just look at JSN and what he did last year compared to the year before, right? A lot of those were getting them lined up out of the backfield, right? Having the ball to get into them in the first, 2 seconds of the play or a second and a half, right? Right? Silva, throwing the ball, right? There's ways you can scheme your guy open. There's ways they can scheme Jack Besh open. There's ways they can scheme these guys that aren't fast open. Again, we can't win with Spytek or Kubiak, promise. I hope that's not the case, man. I hope for Raider Nation, I hope for this team and this franchise that that's not the case. Justin Jefferson, a real long shot for next season. For next season, yeah, I watched the same thing you did. Yeah, they're talking about next year. I don't feel like that's even a scenario, right? If it's a next year project, I mean, why talk about it now? You know what I mean? If they're planning on it being next year, then why talk about it? And I said at the beginning, I don't think it's anytime soon. If anything, it would be, at the trade deadline. If two teams aren't happy with where they are at the trade deadline, then that could be a possibility. But if it's for next season, I mean, there's no reason even talking about it, right? In my opinion. There is less money off his books, right? It is less of a cap hit, and it would make more sense for them to trade him next season if they can make it that far. The Vinny T's, what's good? What's good? My day's going pretty well. Appreciate you. Shout out for the $2 holla. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Many guys got to prove themselves once the pads come on for sure. That's a fact. That's a fact. You can't judge players on a camp in booty shorts and a helmet, right? You just can't. The only thing you can judge is a quarterback, a wide receiver, and a corner, right? You can see the corners backpedaling, sticking with the receiver, playing man coverage, playing, press, how they play in press coverage, but you can't really see how they play in zone. You can see their instincts and shit like that, but you can't see anything from a linebacker unless he's, covering a tight end or a running back out of the backfield, right? You don't get to see nothing from the offensive line, the defensive line, the tight ends blocking, right? It's basically wide receivers, maybe a running back catching a play out of the backfield, but that means nothing if he doesn't have anybody coming and trying to tackle him, right? So these 11-on-11s are soft until the pads come on. Yeah, you're not gonna see anything or know anything. But when the pads come on, mark my words, there's going to be a lot of names that people aren't talking about that start coming to light. Mark my words. Mark my words. We don't know. Doesn't mean they weren't on the team for the season. We're saying don't know because we didn't show themselves worthy of playing time or others did nothing with the in-game reps. I get that. But you also have to question the fact is, do we know for a fact that they weren't showing out in practice, right, last year? Because I wasn't out there. And if you were out there, then I would love to have you on the show and to talk about it and tell me, what you've seen in practice last year. But I feel like you can't judge these guys because they didn't show enough, to get play time. Now, the in-game thing, right? If they did nothing with the reps, then 100%, 100%. If they did nothing with their reps, they shouldn't get any more reps, right? And they should not be on the field. They should be cut. But as far as seeing what we had from a lot of guys didn't get play time. I mean, look at Tonka Hemingway, right? He started getting in towards the latter of the season and showed right away, right? Caleb Rogers, same thing, played the last six or seven games. Charles Grant as well, right? Jack Besh had 29 targets, caught 20 of them. So we didn't see a lot of them, and I don't know if it was, I can't sit up here and say that we didn't see them on the field because of the way they practice or they didn't show out, right? I feel like a lot of guys, even in the joint practices that I seen, not the joint practice, but the open practice at Allegiant Stadium, right? There was guys out there that looked like they could play the part, but you have to take into the fact that when you bring in a head coach of Pete Carroll's experience and all the guys that he brought in, I mean, he brought in Devin White, right? He brought in um, a Landon Roberts, right? He brought in Jamal Adams. He brought in, you Tyler Lockett. He brought in Alex Kappa. He brought in Stone Forsythe. I mean, that's 7 guys right there that all played significant playtime because Pete Carroll brought those guys in the building, right? Kai Blue Kelly, he didn't bring him in, but got significant playtime, and you didn't see Darian Porter out there hardly at all. And I don't know if it was because he didn't show out. I can't say that, but I do feel like a lot of it was because of the coaching. Um, why do the coaches get um, get the worst rep here? Because last year they were ass. I mean, to be honest, it was pretty bad. When it's the players that have to show up for them to show how good they are to be in the league. 3 build worthwhile resumes to change your life. LOL. I get that. I get that. You have to show up and show out, but you also have to be given that opportunity on the grass, not in practice, right? Because not everybody's a guy that can come in and show it, practice like Max Crosby, right? Not everybody gives that effort, but some people are better in game situations when the pressure's on the line, right? Some people need that pressure. And unless you're in pressure of being cut, maybe you don't play like that in practice. And I get that. As a player, you have to go out there and show your worth to the team. But as a coach, it's also your job to know the strengths and weaknesses of your players and put them in the best position to succeed. And if you can tell me that moving JPJ from center to right guard, taking the right guard and Jordan Meredith and moving him to center was the best and the strengths for those guys, especially Jordan Meredith, that had never played in that position before. He's played guard his whole career. So if you could tell me by putting those guys in those positions, you don't think that had anything to with coaches putting guys in bad positions? I mean, if you believe that, then that's fine. That's your opinion. But there's too many scenarios you could look at last year, right? Stone Forsythe playing absolutely horrible every single game, but not putting in Charles Grant to see what he has until the season was absolutely a wash and he pretty much knew he was getting fired, right? Same thing with Jack Bess and Dante Thornton. He ran him early, wasn't good enough. You bring in Tyler Lockett to take a bunch of reps away from these guys. So it could go both ways. Yes, the players have to show what they can do on the field, but the coach's job is to put them in the best position to win. And bad coaching, I've never seen a team win a Super Bowl because of bad coaching. I've never seen a team make the playoffs because of bad coaching. And I've never seen a team win anything when a coach loses the locker room, right? And I believe like they lost the locker room by week 3 or 4. It was pretty much done. The players knew it was another washed up season. Geno was going to be the quarterback the rest of the year. I mean, you can even throw in that scenario, right? Why leave in Geno Smith is throwing 3 interception games and getting sacked, 5 times a game on average in a game when you have 3 other quarterbacks that you can put out and plan for the future. So guys need those opportunities, man. And I don't think the coaching staff put them in the best positions to win, to succeed, or to even play, to be honest. Clint Kubiak has big plans for Naylor. That's why he got paid like that. I agree. I feel like Clint Kubiak and I'm sure Kirk Cousins had a lot to do with that as well, right? I'm sure Kirk Cousins said, "Look, I played with this guy. I know what he can do, right? You've coached him. You know what he can do. Let's put the band back together and make it work." So I feel like Kirk Cousins has confidence in Naylor, and that's why he's there. And I wouldn't be surprised if Naylor, I know he's going to have, I already feel that he's going to have the best year of his career. That's not hard, right? What's that, like 500-600 yards? Um, So he should have the best year of his career in this situation, having a quarterback that, has more confidence in you probably than anybody on the field because he hasn't had a lot of time with those other receivers. I agree 100%. Pete didn't play the young guys until he had to with injuries, pretty much. Yeah, there was a lot of guys out there that shouldn't have been out there playing injured, and that's coaching. That's 100% coaching. It's a rebuild year. Throw the rookies out there and see what happens. Us true Raider fans want hope and miracles. Us true Raider fans. What's a true Raiders fan, bro? What you mean, us true Raider fans? Like you are you counting out my chat? Like, what do you mean, bro? Count me out? I'm not a true Raiders fan because I don't agree with you. That's crazy talk. That's crazy talk. It's a rebuild year, yes, and yes, throw the rookies out there, but you don't need to start them. They don't need to play right away, right? You throw them out there when they're ready and they have confidence in themselves. Because if you throw a player out, whether it's a quarterback, a running back, a receiver, a defensive lineman that isn't confident that they're ready to go out there, you're ruining that kid's career or chance of making it in the NFL. I think so. And I believe we have hope, man. We don't need miracles, like shit, but every team needs a miracle, right? There's a reason why two of our Super Bowls, um, the miracle catch or what the hell is the why can't I what I'll just say? But yeah, man, you need miracles, right? You need miracles. You need those crazy plays that don't always happen. And the Raiders have been a part of two of those. One didn't go our way, one did go our way. So yeah, you don't have to believe in miracles, but you need them. And hope is a good thing, man. Hope is a good thing. If you don't have hope in this team right now, that's crazy. What coach ain't going to play a factor? Wait, what coach ain't gone play factor when they see what's not working in real time? I'm sure they would love to throw guys in and turn their season around to keep their job. Then why didn't they? Then why didn't they, though? That's my question. If Pete Carroll would have loved to throw guys in to keep their job, why didn't they? If he thought firing Brendan Carroll and promoting somebody within like Joe Philbin that was in the building, right, to help the team out, right? No. He had an ego trip. He felt he won 10 games everywhere he went and he was going to win 10 games, and he also felt like he was going to be here for more than a year. And he thought he had leadway in time. So I can't speak for Pete Carroll. That's just my opinion. But I don't know. I don't know why. You say you're sure every player would love to throw guys in and turn their season around. He had the opportunity to. He just never did. Never did until it was too late. Like my guy Alex said, Jefferson would be the stupidest move we could ever make. It very well could. It very well could. If you're telling me if you have to give up 2 first rounds, yes, it's already the stupidest move we could ever make. But if you're telling me a first and a third for questionably the best wide receiver in the NFL to pair with your rookie quarterback, Brock Bowers, Ashton Genty, and possibly a top 15 or better defense, I don't think it's the stupidest move we could ever make. I really don't. I think it makes a lot of sense. But that's only, like I keep saying, that's only if this regime, coaching staff, brass, upper management believe from what they've seen being in the building that we have a chance to compete and that's our biggest need, then man, run with it. Run with it. The Rebel Raider. How you gonna steal my name that I've had for years, bro? What you mean? I don't know how many years. I've been doing YouTube for 3 years with the same name, and it's not the same. Yours is Rebel Raider. Mine's the Raiders Rebel. It's not the same, bro. It's not the same. Well, shout out. Appreciate you in the building. Thinking otherwise is kind of lazy and kind of pitchfork behavior. I don't. I guess. I guess. No, you work in practice to get on the field. Yeah, that's 100%. You work in practice to get on the field, and the best guys should be on the field. But I don't feel like they were last year. If you feel like the best guys at every position were on the field last year, then that's your hot take and that's your opinion and your feelings. But I honestly could sit here and tell you, I believe you're totally, totally way off the mark if you feel like the best players were out there in every position last year. If you could tell me Kai Blue Kelly was the best corner that should have been out there getting beat over and over and over and over again, if you could tell me Tyler Lockett was the best receiver that should have got, the amount of targets that he got being released from the Titans, do you think Tyler Lockett was the best guy out there in practice? I have a hard time believing that, my brother. I have a hard time believing that. So yes, I think we're arguing about the same things, but just different points. Yes, players should 100% prove themselves. But you have scenarios where coaches have big heads, and no matter how much that guy proves, he believes in his guy because he doesn't want to say, "Oh, I should have never paid that guy this kind of money," which you could say with Geno Smith from day one. It's like that on every level. It is, but every building is different. Am I bad, bro? Hell no, bro. I ain't mad. I ain't mad at shit. Um, He's never mad. Sometimes. It's never the player's fault. Got it. Did I say that? Now you're putting words in my mouth. I've never one time said it was not the player's fault. I said, you don't know. You don't know. I don't know. Nobody in this chat knows unless they are on the field with the Las Vegas Raiders in every single practice. Nobody knows if it was the player's fault that they were not good enough to be out there, or if it was the coach not putting them out there because he had his favorites. I'm going to go with the latter. You go with what you would like to go with. But don't put words in my mouth and try to change around what I'm saying. Quit moving the goalposts, my brother. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm on the same page. Players need to work, but neither one of us, like I'm saying, was there to say this player outworked this player and he should have been playing, or this player was better than this player and he should have been out there. We don't know. We don't know. But I could tell by the rookies that did get out there when they got out there that they were better than the guys in front of them. A lot of them. Charles Grant looked way better than Stone Forsythe looked all year long in his first couple snaps out there. Charles Grant looked way better than Alex Cappa looked at right guard in his first couple snaps and through the whole, the whole thing. Jack Best, when he got targets, looked way better, way better than Tyler Lockett out there. The route running might not have been as good, but the contested catches were, the first downs were. So I don't know. You're more than welcome to have it back. Coming at me hard. What? Coming at me hard. Thought you meant what? Coming at me hard. Just fuck. I don't even. Bro. What are we talking about here? You're more than welcome to have it back. Coming at me hard though. Thought might get you a meeting on Raider Way. I don't know what that means, bro. I don't know what that means. I've already been the Raider Way. Nah, you good. We didn't need Jefferson baggage, bro. You misunderstood. I get you. Brendan Carroll, hands down, worst O-line coach Raiders ever had. Bro, he's the worst coach anybody ever had at the offensive line. And people just let it go over their head, the fact that not only is he the worst offensive line coach, but he was the dadgum run game coordinator. The coordinator. You know what the run game coordinator's job is? Do you know what they do? You know what they do? They coordinate the run plays into the offensive system with the head coach or offensive coordinator, whoever is calling the plays, right? That's what they do. They come up with the run plays, how they block for those run plays, how the run plays work. Are they going to be power zone? Are they going to be inside zone? Are they going to be outside zone? Right? That's their job. And he did the worst, the worst job ever at opening lanes or, having plays where that fit Ashton Genty's strengths, in my opinion, right? If you look at how they used Ashton Genty, the first couple games, 7 carries here, 10 games here. But then after they realized that, oh my God, Geno was not the guy, this offensive line is not working with Brendan Carroll, let's run the ball in a horrible run scheme and make your guy look like he's horrible. Worst O-line ever. I don't think the O-line was bad though. I mean, I'm good with Colton Miller. I like JPJ, right? I like Jordan Meredith. I think Dylan Parham got pushed around a lot. I think DJ Glaze gets pushed around a lot. But I think we had pieces in the building. We could have made the line subpar. It was better the year before, the way it was with JPJ at center, Jordan Meredith at guard, right? DJ Glaze. That O-line started to come together and play together in 2024 towards the end of the season. But then you start the next season with changing it all around and putting guys in a different scenario. So, I'm going to continue to blame the coaches and not the players. Now, if the players that were playing last year come out and play this year and are ass, then it's time to have that conversation. And I'll admit I was wrong. The players sucked. But until then, because they sucked, don't make me go in my favorite team shaking my head. All right, if you say, let me know when you come on. Let me know when you want to come on the show and go in on your team, bro. Let me know. You used to have the name Raiders Rebel for years on all kinds of channels. My name's been Raiders Rebel for the last 5 years on Instagram. It has been on X, right? But it doesn't matter. I'm not gonna argue. If you want me to change my name, bro, just let me know. Or if you don't like it, take the off of yours. I don't know, but we can work it out. I might just change my whole damn name because I don't like yours being that close. Again, the regime is suspect. We'll wait and see, man. We'll wait and see. I respect your opinion. I hope it's not, though. I really do. Oh, man, Spytek just built good teams, bro. I think he does. He was involved in a lot of good teams, right? The Philadelphia Eagles won Super Bowls while he was there. The Broncos won a Super Bowl while he was there. The Tampa Bay Bucks won a Super Bowl while he was there. He was one of the top dogs in that building making decisions, whether it was personnel, whether it was being the scouting department or the assistant general manager. He was making a lot of choices, and he's seen how good teams are built. And I believe he's going about it the right way, but we'll see. I've had it for over 6 years, but it's all good, bro. Just tired of people thinking you're me. Yeah, I get it. We have to do something about that. I don't know. Maybe put an underscore or something. I don't know why, bro. Because your profile picture is not the same as mine. Mine's been the same for a while, and I just changed it. Maybe I'll change it back. But yeah, I can see how that is a problem because I get people thinking I'm you as well. But didn't you just change it to because I thought before it was just Rebel Raider, right? Wasn't before it was just Rebel Raider? That's why I changed mine to the Raiders Rebel. But I could be wrong. Blow, Kai Blue Kelly was better than Greedy Porter. Was better than DCAM. Yes, I'm saying that. Okay. Well, I mean, I'll put it up so people can read, but I don't know if I'd let people know I was saying that. Look, I'm a big Caillou Blue Kelly fan. Vegas born guy. So, I was rooting for my Vegas guy. But you can't sit there with a straight face, and I can't see your face, so I'm sure it's not straight because you're probably laughing your ass off as you're typing that, because I'm laughing my ass off as reading it. But Caillou Blue Kelly did not play better than Greedy Vance. He did not play better than Greedy Vance. He did not play better or tackle near as good as Darian Porter whatsoever. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe we see football different, and I'm not saying you're wrong, bro. I'm not. So I'm really not going to keep arguing on every one of these questions. What you said is it was the coaches, not literally. You literally said that. I did. I did say it. It was the coaching. Our season sucked ass last year because of the coaching. Yes, I said it. I said it and I'll say it again and I'll keep saying it. And I'm going to stand on that shit till the day I die. Our coaching was ass last year, bro. Players playing out of position, players not playing. So, yes, it's 100%. Our team was ass because of our coaching. Were players not in there that I felt and a lot of people felt should be given opportunities? Yes, they were not in there because of the coaching. Yes. Rick Whitson, what's good, my brother? It's been a minute. How you doing? You pumped for the season? I know it's getting close to the season when you're back in the chat. It's Spytek, Carroll, and Kubiak's fault. Spytek being the ops has to go. Man, you got to give Spytek a chance, bro. I'm tired of having a new GM every 2 years, every 3 years. We got to give something a chance to stick. He's in the building. He's got Tom Brady's, full condolences. He's got Mark Davis's, full condolences. Give Spytek a chance, bro. Give Spytek a chance. But if this draft class turns out to be shit and the last draft class doesn't get on the field this year, then we can have that Spytek chalk. 100%. 100%. But I'm a full believer in Spytek and what he's doing and the way he's trying to build this team, how he's trying to build this team, and the personnel that he's trying to build it with. I feel like he's heading in the right direction. I really do. Now, I've been wrong before, and I'll come on this channel and say, look, I was wrong. Spytek needs to go when we get to that. But first, we have to see if his offensive line is if the offensive line guys that he drafted like Caleb Rogers, like Charles Grant, like Trey Zune, right? How long is it before these guys play? When they do play, are they looking like, they were the right pick? Jack Best, very questionable. Ashton Genty, 6th overall. That kid needs to have just an amazing year to get Raider Nation off his back. So we'll see, man. We'll see 100%. Carlin said hi. What's good, Carlin, in the building? But we got to give Spytek a chance, man. You got to give somebody in the building a chance. We can't just keep firing these coaches, cutting players, letting guys go. Spytek wants to build this thing the right way. He wants to keep players that were drafted, but he wants to keep players that he drafted, it seems like. So we'll see, man. Rebel, F him, do you, bro? Appreciate you, my brother. 199. Shout out for the $2. Holla! Let's go. Appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you. Pete, I made the worst call in the Super Bowl history, Carroll. I love it, bro. I love it. Look, I ain't disagreeing with you, bro. It was the worst call ever in the Super Bowl. I get it. And I think he made a bunch of those worst calls with Ashton Genty trying to run the offense because he don't know how to run a damn offense. And I think he was too involved in it. But but that's a funny ass statement, bro. I like that. Now it's Clint, and I'm the Denver donkey. Come on, man. You got to get off Clint. Clint wasn't a donkey. His father was, right? Gary Kubiak. This is Clint. This is the son of Gary Kubiak. And if Mark Davis can squash all the beef that they got, we should be able to squash it too. If he wins us games, I don't give a shit if he was a donkey, a chief, and a charger all at the same time. I don't care. I really don't care. I really don't care. Seattle's offense was not what the Godfather Al Davis would have ever imagined. Okay, I agree with that. But we do have the speed to stretch the field. We're not going to take shots like Al Davis wanted to, but Al Davis, God rest his soul, is not here, and it's Mark Davis's team, and it's time for Mark Davis to build his legacy and put this team in position to win. And I feel like we're doing that. That's why we brought in Brady. That's why we brought in Spytek. Now, if it doesn't work, I'm going to be the first one cussing out every single one of those guys and saying it was a bad decision. But until then, we have to give both Kubiak and Spytek some kind of thing. And if we're going by, old school, what Al Davis would have did, I mean, No, that's great. But Al Davis, in his later years, cost us a lot of valuable time, in my opinion. Right? The the decisions he made in the last five, shit, maybe even 10 years, um, that he was running the team weren't the greatest decisions. So let's try to go away from that. We got speed in the building. We got the James Jets in the building, and speed wise, right? We got those guys that are burners. Let's put it all together. But no, Clint Kubiak offense is not what Al Davis would have ever had in mind. He's going to run a lot of screens, a lot of motions, a lot of 5 and 10 yard dinks, and let players eat after the catch. Expectations are not being met. How can you say expectations aren't being met? This is Spytek's second year. I don't know, bro. Kai Blue Kelly was getting picked a lot because he was cheeks. He wasn't ready, that's for sure. We sucked because of talent. Okay. You will say the exact same thing at the end of this year. I hope I don't, man. I really don't. Don't put that bad juju on me, Ricky Bobby. I don't want to say Spytek sucked and Kubiak was the wrong coach. I don't. I don't. If we're being honest, I wanted Mike LaFleur, and I'm praying to God before I go to bed every night that Mike LaFleur does not turn out to be a better coach than Clint Kubiak. I really, really do. I would rather, much, much rather be wrong and win than to be right and this team still sucks. So come on, man, don't put that on me. But yeah, I hope to God we're all wrong. I hope we're wrong and nobody is saying that at the end of the year. I hope we are all Clint Kubiak, John Spytek. Right? I hope everybody's like that. That's what I'm saying. Nah, don't settle for less. Rated Nation. I get it. Don't settle for less. Less than what? Come on, man. What do you mean by don't settle for less? We've settled for less every single year by bringing in these washed up ass quarterbacks like Jimmy Garoppolo, like Garner Minshew, like Geno Smith, Brian Hoyer. No disrespect to any of them. They were all great and good at one time. But there's a lot of quarterbacks that weren't that came to the Raider Nation. Jason Campbell, Carson. Oh my God, bro! I'm not even gonna go into those names. I don't even want to get bring back some of those memories. But settle for less than what? Less than what? Than 3-14? Then 4-13? I mean, come on, bro. What do we settle in less than what? You're a stand-up Raider fan. That's why I'm still here. Oakland, Alameda County, Rose Bowl, and the Death Star. What's good? What's good? Appreciate you, man. I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you saying that. It means a lot. I'm glad you enjoy it. We need Howie Long. Problem solved. That's what the fuck did you just send 200 joules? What the hell? Raider Knight in the building. What is that? The flow state. I like it. I like it. Can I post that up there? Holy shit. Howie Long would be great, bro. Howie Long would be great. I would like another Bill Romanowski. I mean, I'd be good with a Greg Beekert, right? You know, I'd be good with any one of those. Bring back any of those dudes. Shit, I'd be good with a Chester McLaughlin at this point because we don't have any known guys on the defensive line. But yeah, that would make it nasty, just nasty. Oh, that's weird that I can't put up the flow state one. Y'all see it in the chat? Shout out to my guy Raider Knight, as always, coming through. What's good, my brother? How you feeling? How you feeling? Raiders going 2-15. Oh God, why'd I read that? Man, oh, why'd I say that? Don't do that to me, bro. I'm gonna read these comments from now on before I say them because come on, man, that's just wrong. That's wrong. I like this one a lot better. I think this one is absolutely insanely crazy, but anything can happen, man. It is the NFL. The Patriots did it last year, right? Appreciate Raider Knight with the 100. Keeping it 100 as always. Ricky Bobby, I love it, homie. Thank you for the support, Raider Knight. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Lawrence in the building. Where you been, man? Where you been? How's the health? What's good with you? Every time I'm live and you don't come in here, my heart starts doing that. I'm like, what's up with my brother Lawrence? Is he good? Because I have no way to contact your ass to see, hey, you still good? So we need to work on that. We need to fix that. You could private message me on X, in the community page, on Instagram, something. But damn it, we need to be in contact. I'm telling you, Mr. Lawrence. Viking quarterback room sucks. Vikings, I get you. Vikings quarterback room sucks. Don't want to be there. If the Raiders do well and the Vikings suck, then Jefferson will want out. Agreed. He will want out. But let me ask you this. Say Aiden O'Connell goes out there and balls out in the preseason and both of their quarterbacks shit the bed. Could you sweeten the deal with maybe a little Aiden O'Connell, little Trey Tucker, little Michael Mayer, maybe a Dante Thornton to get rid of some of those picks? I don't know. Probably not, because they're going to want money because they're so far behind. But yeah, I agree. If these quarterbacks, Justin Jefferson, I feel like last year he didn't really complain a lot. He kind of left some innuendos, right, in some of his comments on social media. But I don't feel like he's that dude to go out there and start a lot of shit. But I can tell you one thing. If he ain't getting the ball like he did last year and he ain't over 1,000 yards, he's going to be disgruntled. Puts the tinfoil hat over the Ricky Bobby mud flap. Let's go. We went, come on, man. Stop saying that. I'm going to block you from my chat if you keep saying that. Don't jinx us. But I would love it if they did. Haven't we learned our lesson already with Randy Moss, Davante Adams? I love Jefferson, but those moves have never worked. There is a yes and a no to that, my brother, right? Because let me see. Let me make sure I gotta make this right. Davante Adams and Derek Carr's stats his first year as a Raider. I probably ain't gonna wait. Yeah, man. So Carr put up 3,522 yards with 24 touchdowns to 14 interceptions with an 86.3 quarterback rating. Davante Adams had 100 receptions, 1,516 yards. Guess what? Randy Moss never did that. Guess what? Antonio Brown never took the field. So trying to, compare those guys and putting them linked all in the same group, it's not fair for Davante Adams. 1,500 yards on 100 receptions, with 14 leading the NFL, leading the NFL with 14 receiving touchdowns in 17 games. That's not a fail. That's not a fail to me. It's not a fail. I'm sorry. Now, what was a fail is what we were talking about earlier of coaches sabotaging players and teams, and and Josh McDaniels, Dick Daniels, as I like to call him, coming in and putting together a solid group, but then letting his ego tear it apart because Derek Carr wanted to call plays at the line of scrimmage and change plays. So Davante Adams wasn't a failure. We gave up a first and a second. I would give up a first and a third if that was the asking price for Justin Jefferson and hope it sticks, because a lot of people feel Mendoza is going to be a better quarterback than what Derek Carr was, right? That's questionable. That remains to be seen. A lot of people already feel like Kirk Cousins is a way better quarterback than Derek Carr ever was. So if you're telling me you can bring in a guy that already knows Justin Jefferson, already has chemistry with him, right? Already knows how he runs his routes, where he likes his balls, pause if necessary. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I don't see that as a bad thing, right? Derek Carr with 3,500 yards and 24 tutties. I mean, 14 of those 24 were to Devontae Adams. Imagine if we had other weapons, right? Imagine if we had other weapons. So, yes, those were a fail. Yes, those were a fail. And some of those. The Randy Moss, yes. The the Brown, yes. But Devontae, bro, I don't think Devontae was a failure. I think Devontae, just like Justin Jefferson, has every right to one out um, of a team that isn't trying to go in the direction he's trying to go, right? Like Devontae said, I'm trying to be great. I want to win championships. And I don't feel like they're trying to do that going with Gardner Minshew over Aiden O'Connell, right? That's not what he wanted. And I feel like Justin Jefferson's in that same situation. You got to talk about trading Aiden, man. Yeah, you never know. It's got to be in there. Antonio Brown, I get it. Trade AOC in a first and a third for Jefferson. Would evaluate the offense for Mendoza. He would 100% evaluate the offense for Mendoza, and I think Aiden O'Connell could go over there and evaluate that offense as well. Right? He's not going to throw interceptions. He's not going to turn the ball over. They got a damn good rushing game and a solid defense. I think it'd be a good trade. I think it'd be a good trade. I would hate to lose Aiden O'Connell, but I guarantee you it'd make Minnesota better with him as their quarterback. That's just my opinion. He would have the best tight end and the best wide receiver under Kubiak, the promised land. Yeah, if you have, you know, the a top running back, maybe two top running backs, two top tight ends, and a Justin Jefferson with a rookie quarterback that is, that people have crazy expectations for. That's a winning recipe for me. Now you have to have an offensive line, you have to have a defense to get you stops and get you you know short yardage attempts. You have to get turnovers, but I think it could work. Um, Got to get a heart operation done on Monday. I'm in peace no matter what happens. Feel you, my brother. As long as I know that, I don't like knowing that, but um, it's gonna go good, man. I know you getting a pacemaker or some shit. Damn. My prayers for you and your family, my brother. Prayers for you and your family. But let me know Monday how everything goes if you are. And now I really need to know how to get in touch with your ass, bro. Hit me up. Email me. Do you have an email? Do you have an email? I'm gonna drop my email on here. If y'all want to email, you can email too. Just make sure it's questions and no crazy shit. Don't be sending me pictures of your junk or no crazy shit. But yeah, copy that. Copy that, my brother. Copy that. Hit me up on an email so we can get in touch. If you would, I'd greatly appreciate it, my brother. We need a Team Brown, not Jerry Rice or Justin Jefferson. A Tim Brown would be nice, bro. A Tim Brown would be nice. Do we have one of those? Do we have anybody in the building that could play that role? I don't know. I don't know. We have to wait and see. Raiders first downs. I agree with Lawrence, but it's about the players as much as it is the return investment. We are not in position roster wise to make that kind of trade. I'm gonna have to disagree a little bit, right? Roster wise, I mean, we spent $140 million in free agency. We stacked up on center, on linebackers, on safeties, on corners. We have so many receivers that we don't know, who's going to be what or who's going to make the team. I feel like this roster is, again, we have to go through preseason, like I keep saying. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I can't agree with you in saying this roster. We're not in a position. We are not in a roster position to make that kind of trade. When are you ever in that kind of position, right? If you feel like Kirk Cousins is going to be that guy and you can go out and win games, but you would win more games and be more competitive with a Justin Jefferson, if you're telling me that you could, sit Mendoza possibly for the most of the year or the whole entire year, and then have him start fresh in camp with a player like Justin Jefferson, I mean, I don't know. I think that would be a recipe for success. Kirk Cousins finds ways to lose playoff games. You're crazy. Kirk Cousins has only been in one playoff game, I think, right? Or 1-2. What's his record? 1-2. Check my facts. How many playoff games has Kirk Cousins been in, and what's his record? Oh, yeah, you're right. I thought it was only 3. But hey, that's why we got Mendoza in AOC in the building. Maybe when it comes to playoff time, you just hand the reins over since it's just a rebuild season and nobody expected us to win. I mean, what the hell? But according to this, Kirk Cousins has played 5 playoff games. He has 1-4. 2015 with Washington, lost the NFC wildcard game against the Green Bay Packers. I mean, that's understandable. I don't think he's ever been better than Aaron Rodgers. 2019 with Minnesota, started and won the NFC wildcard game against New Orleans Saints. They lost 26-20 in overtime. I mean, you can kind of put that on the defense as well, right? Giving up that final drive, kind of put that both ways. With Minnesota, he lost the divisional round against San Francisco. I mean, the 49ers. Lost the NFC wildcard game against the New York Giants in 2022. That's not right, is it? That's not right. Are all these stats correct? Giants are in the playoffs in 22? Anyways, he lost 4 games. Yes, you are 100% correct. He finds a way to lose playoff games. But maybe, just maybe, if you're in a playoff game with a top 15 defense, possibly, and a Brock Bowers and an Ashton Genty, man, with Kirk Cousins, and a Clint Kubiak, it could be a different scenario, but it could be the same result. It could be no other talent outside of DA were the issues. LOL. You're talking Devontae Adams? Didn't we have Hunter Renfro on the team? Didn't we have Jacoby Myers? We just didn't have no running. We had Josh Jacobs, right? There was talent on that team. There was talent. We just couldn't get it together. Cousins has better career stats than Carr and has won a playoff game under Kubiak. Yep, and that's nice that it's with Kubiak, though, for sure. Cousins never better than Derek Carr, and I prefer my balls in a girl's mouth. What? Teabag. Okay. We have these players from the past, present, and future. off the titty of fan base. I agree with that. It's definitely about the shield and not the players. Why are we even on our Cousins when we got AOC and Mendoza? That's what I'm talking about. Now there's a comment that I like. Y'all see that? Y'all see that? We got AOC, the cerebral assassin, and Mendoza. The hell we talking about Cousins for? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. I'm 100% with that. I would much rather see Aiden O'Connell or Mendoza than Kirk Cousins. But if you go get weapons for Kirk Cousins, like a Justin Jefferson, we could probably win a lot of games. I don't know. I think the majority of our losses this year will be from bad route running on and dropped passing. Oh my God, that's gonna hurt. Don't do that to me. No, we don't want to lose that way. We do not want to lose that way. Please take it back. Take it back. Please take it back. Oh man, no. G-Fam in the building. What's good? What's good? No excuses for Cousins. I ain't making no excuses for Cousins. I do not want him to start whatsoever. I would much rather see a kid that was drafted on on the last year of his rookie contract get out there and see what he can do, slang the rock around. If it's a rebuild, like everybody says, right? But if it's not a rebuild and they feel like this team is competitive and he gives us the best chance to win, it's gonna be hard to watch. Am I gonna root for him? Hell yeah. I'm gonna be cheering the loudest every time he plays, every time he does something wrong, right? But when he does something wrong, I'll be the loudest as well. Danny Dimes cooked that game. Ooh, Danny Dimes. Cousins and Gino are same. Oh, that no, come on. You can't say that, bro. You can't say that. Don't disrespect Kirk Cousins like that, please. Him and Gino are not even close. Gino played 6 years in the NFL as a starter and a worst backup in the history of the NFL. The only reason he had success under Pete Carroll is because it was a Super Bowl roster. He had DK Metcalf, he had Tyler Lockett, they brought in Jackson Smith and Jigba, right? They had still a top 10 defense. That's why Geno Smith was successful. He had 1 year with 32 touchdowns and 15 or 16 interceptions, but he's thrown 15 touchdowns or interceptions every year. Kirk Cousins has had plenty of years with 4,000 yards throwing. Geno has 0, I do believe. He's had 3 or 4 years with over 25 touchdowns. Geno has 1, I do believe. So no, they're not even the same. Not even close. Not even close. Cousins had Justin Jefferson in Minnesota, and Justin Jefferson had one of his top seasons that year with Cousins and Clint Kubiak as the OC, right? Bowers and Genty can help Cousins win the playoffs. We got to get there first, man. We got to get there first. It's going to take a lot. The guy didn't play since then. AOC ass on the couch. God and family. We'll see, G-Fam. We'll see. Kirk Cousins has Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson. What did he do with those players? But I have to ask you this, my guy Lawrence, because he is a Raider now, so I got to defend him because I that's just who I am. That's what I do. Got to defend my people. But you could also say he was coming off that 1 year removed Achilles injury, right? It usually takes 2 years off that Achilles to get it out of your mental, to get 100% where your lateral movement is the same as your vertical movement and there's no hiccups. And then you have to look at who is calling plays, right? I think that's a big part of it. I believe Clint Kubiak is a way better play caller than God, I hate when my mind does not work. Who is the offensive coordinator for the Falcons? Tommy Reese. Wait, was that last year too? Tommy Reese was hired in 2020. Okay. Let's go with last season. And that's why he was fired. That's why he was fired. Offensive coordinator Tommy Reese working for the Falcons. Tommy Reese was Zach Robinson. Zach Robinson. Okay, well, um, I don't really have a defense for that because Zach Robinson comes from the Sean McVay tree, right? He was a damn good OC, but not calling the plays when he was with the Rams. But I don't think he's Clint Kubiak, right? I don't think Zach Robinson is Clint Kubiak. So, and maybe, just maybe, Zach Robinson was the reason Clint Kubiak, Kirk Cousins was benched, for Michael Penix. We don't know. Hey, now AOC will have don't say that. Doesn't make no sense. Oh, we'll have your ass on the couch. Like what? Man's Cousins, top 20 all time. Under 40, we got to put respect on his name. And he didn't start like AOC. And he didn't. What? That's the question part? Man, Cousins is 20 all time. Under 40, we got to put respect on his name. Yes, 100%. From what he's done in his career, you got to put respect on his name. He didn't start like Aiden O'Connell. Nobody in the NFL has started like Aiden O'Connell with 3 head coaches and 7 offensive coordinators, a different wide receiver every year. No, nobody is. But yeah, got to put some respect on Kirk Cousins' name a little bit. I don't have to like him, right? I will cheer for him when he makes plays because he is a Raider. But man, I just want to see Raiders given opportunities that they haven't been given. Again, lose with Mendoza or win with Cousins. But that question is hard because there's no guarantee that Cousins is going to come out and win, right? He could come out and be that 10 touchdown, 5 interception guy he was last year. And, we could come out. I'm going to type it and not say it. We could start the season with that right there, right? I'm not putting that shit in the universe. But we could start the season with that. And then what, right? And then what? So I don't know. Raiders, check Falcons' last 4 games last year. Let's put it up. Kirk Cousins stats the last 4 games of 2025 season. Week 15, he threw 44 times for 30 completions, 377 yards, and 3 touchdowns with a 117 QBR. Week 16 against the Arizona Cardinals, they won 26-19. He threw 35 times with 21 completions, 197 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception with an 82.7 completion ratio. Week 17 against the Rams, 27-24. He threw 20 times for 13 completions for 126 yards with 1 touchdown and a 99.2 completion ratio. In week 18 with the New Orleans Saints, it was a win, 19-17. He threw for 26 times, 13 completions, 180 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception with a 69.8 completion ratio. What am I looking at? What are we looking at? What am I supposed to be looking for? I mean, I'm the 44 attempts for 377 yards, 3 touchdowns. That's what I'm looking for every week, right? If you're telling me, right, you got Bijan Robinson, right? You got Drake London. You got Kyle Pitts. You have the top 4 ranked offensive line in the NFL. Top 4, not 5. Top 5. We'll go with top 5. Top 5 ranked offensive line in the NFL. Yes, you should have those numbers. You should have those numbers. But then when I see against the Arizona Cardinals, 35 for 21 with 197, 2 touchdowns and an interception, that's okay. He beat the Rams. That's 2013, 126 yards. Yeah, that's Aiden O'Connell numbers. 26 for 13, 181 and 1. That's Aiden O'Connell numbers. Yeah, he had 1 year, that 1 week in week 15, but against the Tampa Bay Bucks. I mean, the Tampa Bay Bucks defense was dog water all season long. Is why they lost the last game of the season, and didn't make it to the playoffs. So Kirk Cousins can be that guy. He can carry us. It just depends. It just depends. Depends. Yep. Again, win or lose. I don't know. I don't know. You keep saying that, my guy Lou, but what if we win with Mendoza? What if Mendoza is that quarterback that starts week 1, 2, or 3 because of his mobility, because of his speed, because of his being able to make plays for first downs that Kirk Cousins and Aiden O'Connell doesn't give us the ability to do, right? What if he is that guy and they come out and hit the ground running, winning with Mendoza, right? Could happen. Kubiak, Cousins, Jefferson's losing Minnesota. You want that? Spytek's a fraud. But they made it to the playoffs, though, right? You're calling them losers, but they made it to the playoffs consistently. Now they won 1 game, they lost 2. But again, you have an offensive coordinator, you have a head coach, right? I don't know, but if you're asking me, will I take Kubiak, Jefferson, and Cousins to win a flipping playoff game for the first time since 2002? Yes. You can have my first round pick this year, next year, the year after, and the year after that, just for 1 playoff win. But that's just me. Right? Because I feel like if you get this team to a playoff and they win 1 game, it's going to be hard to beat them, right? And then that could carry over to the next year. So yes, I'm willing to give that up. I'm willing to give all that up if you're telling me it gets me to the playoffs. And if you're telling me it gets me to the playoffs with a win, then absolutely, bro. Absolutely, 100%. We got a new receiver. We get a new receiver. I might feel hopeful. That's nice. Tim Brown said, this is the best offensive. This is the best offense. Wait, this is the best offseason. I can't read. The Raiders have had in a very long time. Now that's coming from Tim Brown, Mr. Raider himself, number 81, right? Playoffs, Super Bowl. It was a loss, but made it. That's coming from number 81, Tim Brown, Mr. Raider, that hasn't been to Raider games in a while, that hasn't been in the building, that has told Mark Davis, until we prove that this is a winning culture again and this team is on the right track, I can't show up in the building. Now you got Tim Brown, Mr. Raider, saying this is the best offseason the Raiders have had in a very long time. So if the great Tim Brown, who hasn't been in the building, hasn't been showing up to the, a lot of the Raider alumni stuff and all of that, just because he's not happy with the way this team is being ran and the way it's going, if he can change his mind, damn it, why can't we change ours? If he believes that, I'm on board. If Mr. Raider says it looks the best offseason he's seen, that's high praise right there from a guy that's been disgruntled because of the way we've been losing. A guy that's used to, okay, I don't want to say used to winning because we haven't always won when he was there either, but you know what I mean. So he went 4-0 and beat the Rams. I mean, that's damn good. 4-0 and beat the Rams. He's also a year older at 38. a new system, new players, doesn't have familiarity with, right? He was the starter the year before, so he knows guys like Drake London. He knows guys like Kyle Pitts. He knows that you could, depend on that check down out of the backfield in Bijan Robinson. So, yeah, that's a damn good record. He beat the Rams. They went 4-0. They went on a run. But looking at these numbers, it wasn't all Kirk Cousins, right? He was pretty much a game manager except for the one game that they won. So can he manage games and get us wins? I sure to God hope so. He won't read me. I'm too realistic. I've proven stats to be truth. At the end of the season, Spytek and Kubiak are gone. I've read every comment you've put up. Fuck you mean, bro? What do you mean? I've read every single comment. I want Mendoza day one. That's fine. That's fine. If you want Mendoza day one, I love your enthusiasm, right? But it could happen. Brady came out and said, right, he feels like Mendoza's the next Peyton Manning, which means he's got to start day one. I don't know. Playoffs will never suffice in Raider Nation. What? Playoffs will never suffice in Raider Nation? There's 15 people in the building. Would y'all be happy with a playoff win in the next year or two with Spytek? Hold on. I got to take this call. All right. Even Lincoln Kennedy on board. See, man, you got the professor in the building. Oh, God and family trying to get some bets going. Trying to get some bets going on the Raiders Unleashed show. I like it. I like it. If we can't get Jalen Carter, it's on, bro. I'm not sold on Jalen Carter, man. I don't like dudes spitting on people. He's got two bad shoulders. I feel like that defensive line, around him makes him the player he is. I don't know. I'm not willing to give up 2 first rounds for a Jalen Carter. I'd rather go get my own Jalen Carter, right? I'd rather go get the best guy in the draft, next year at defensive line than taking a guy like Jalen Carter. To me, do I think he can help this team? Probably. But is it worth giving up what we have to give up to get him? I just don't feel like that's the case. Raiders. I just like having Cousins right now so we can develop the rest of the team. Great options as we build this thing the right way. 100%. 100%. I like having Cousins in the building. But if he's not winning games, and if he's the reason why we're struggling, they have to be able to make a switch, right? That was my biggest thing last year, bringing in Pete Carroll and Geno. I knew, and I tried to say every live, the biggest problem was if Geno struggled, could Pete Carroll make that switch at quarterback because the relationship that they have? And we got the answer. It was no, and we got a first-round pick over it. So can Kubiak, with his relationship of Kirk Cousins, be able to pull that plug if he decides to go with Kirk Cousins and it's not the right move? Those questions will have to be answered later. Raider Paul in the building. What's good? What's good? My camera is working. What do you mean? I turned it off so I can answer the question. Rich Gannon took Kansas City Cheeks to the playoffs. Playoffs, they started Elvis Gerbach injury. Rich Gannon then led the Raider Nation to the Super Bowl. You want Kirk Cousins? My guy Lou. Lou Skunt. Kirk Cousins, no disrespect to the great Rich Gannon. No disrespect whatsoever. But Kirk Cousins' career is way more lucrative than Rich Gannon's. Now, did Rich Gannon have a great run when he got with the right coach, the right wide receivers, and Jerry Rice and Tim Brown, two of the greatest to ever do it, with a solid running game? Yes, he did. But if we're comparing careers, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how we could say, you know, Rich Gannon's career has been better than Kirk Cousins, other than the two good years that he had with John Gruden. But if you're telling me that Kirk Cousins having a better career throughout his career than Rich Gannon could come in and recreate kind of what a Rich Gannon did, then I'm all down for that. I'm all down for that. Hell no, I'll trade our first for Jefferson. We need a true wide receiver. We do. But are we one away? I don't know. I don't know. If our defense is as good as the Vikings defense was or better, we can win a lot of games. I don't know if our defense will quite be what the Vikings was year one. But like I said, if it's top 15, right? If you're somewhere in the top 15, man, I believe this team is going to win a lot of games. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people. They're going to have, they're going to have the ball bounce their way, right? They're going to have some bad calls go their way, some good calls go their way, and some turnovers. And it could happen, right? Any given Sunday, the ball can bounce either way. Kirk Cousins over Rich Gannon. Everything's set. Need a wide receiver. Okay, Paul says we're ready to go. How am I not bright? Go look up the career of Rich Gannon and look up the career of Kirk Cousins. Look at how much money Kirk Cousins has made compared to Rich Gannon. This is you're right. I'm not bright. I'm not bright. I'm just saying, if anybody in the NFL right now gives us a chance to recreate what Gruden did, bringing in a Rich Gannon, it's Kirk Cousins to me. Kubiak knows how to take advantage of turnovers, unlike past regimes. 100%. This defense is, if they can create us some turnovers, the offense is going to take full advantage of it, right? They're pretty solid in the red zone. Kirk Cousins is solid in the red zone throughout his career. Mendoza is even better in the red zone throughout his career. So, Super Bowl playoff or bust. If we're talking Super Bowl, you have to go get Justin Jefferson, and I would go get Justin Jefferson. I would try to trade guys like Aiden O'Connell and Trey Tucker, and bring in Stefon Diggs as well. Because if you're telling me that everything else is set in place and we just need a receiver, why not go get two of the best in Stefon Diggs and Justin Jefferson and swing for the fences now, bro? Step up to the plate and swing, better, swing. Lou, of all the flavors, why choose salty? I'm going to steal that shit, bro. I'm going to use that for the rest of my life. I'm never going to forget that. God and Family, that is classic. I love this one. I love this 100%. With all the flavors, why choose salty? Damn, I love it. As of today, I have the Raiders at 7-2. 7-2. What happens the rest of the team? Well, the rest of the way. wait. What? For the 2007-12, I don't think that would be right either. It had to be 5-12. I get you though. We're not gonna win a lot of games. G fam, yeah, that shit was funny. Luke puts extra salt on his ice cream. Doesn't that make it melt faster? With a salty cherry on top. Yo, shout out to my guy Lou, man. Shout out to keeping this live stream going. Shout out to God and family. Shout out to all you peeps. What's the other cat that was talking the most? Where the hell did he go? I know your name. I just can't remember it. And that's probably rude. Who the hell was talking the other shit? I don't know. Oh, my guy. My guy Quirk V in the building. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to all the comments. Shout out to all the interactions. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all hit the like button on the way out. Subscribe to the channel. Tickle the damn notification bell to turn it on. I mean, everybody likes to be turned on, right? There you get notified when I go live, when I pop in, when I drop shorts, videos, or anything else. But man, love y'all. Appreciate y'all for watching. Just can't do Spytek, Kubiak, and Carroll. Not buying it after the season. You'll understand. I hope that's not the case. I don't want you to be wrong, but I sure the hell don't want you to be right, my brother. So I'm ready for the season to start as well, right? We're gonna start with blunts and bottles at the tailgate, and yeah. So shout out again to everybody in the building. Luke, give it one season before we pass judgment, right? I know Spytek got his one season. This is now his second season, but man, nobody hits right off the rip, right? And last year, I think was Mark Davis, Tom Brady. It seems like Mark Davis has completely stepped back and left it to the big boys in the building that know football. And I hope that's the case. So again, appreciate everybody. Like, subscribe, follow. Again, protect yourself, your mind, your family, and always hold a commitment to yourself and just win, baby. Raiders! Love y'all. Peace. I hope you. I want you to be wrong too. Of course. What you mean? I don't drink, but I'll I'll take a couple shots. I ain't gonna get shit faced. I don't do that no more. But yeah, for sure, bro. Peace.